Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Hedera or HBAR, and we're also going to be talking about its solidifying role in this market and in the future of finance. And of course, before we fully jump into this video, I just want to ask if you guys could please leave a like. It does help the channel grow immensely, and I do greatly appreciate it. But with that being said, we are talking about the monthly candle close coming in very shortly, in pretty much about 45 minutes. We are looking at Ethereum closely here because it does look like Ethereum is making some strides around the entire market. We are not seeing alts too crazy right now, but I suspect that we will be seeing them going pretty parabolic within the next month. And of course, we do see Bitcoin dominance dropping down to almost 40% now again, and we are seeing Ethereum dominance kind of ranging here. So this is actually very bullish for the market as we do look at, the path to alt season. And look at phase 2, Ethereum. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin, and we hear talks of the flippening, which I suspect that we will be seeing, the talks of the flippening very soon. And of course, we do see our money is starting to trickle into large caps where we see large buy-ups happening. And guess what is a large cap gem? That is right, Hedera, right? Now with HBAR, I will say this. With the news yesterday, I was suspecting a little bit more movement, but it's totally fine because the market is kind of doing its thing. But we did see that the trading volume did rise about 113.37%. I suspect that this is probably one of the most undervalued, most suppressed assets within the space. Of course, with what is happening in this market, I suspect that a lot of altcoins are about to make their major moves very soon. Probably the wave 3 of the wave 5 for a lot of altcoins, because I do think that we have a ton of upside movement still yet left in the tank for a lot of these altcoins. But we have to wait until things start to move with Ethereum and Bitcoin, because I think that there's still a lot left in the tank for both of these altcoins. I think that Bitcoin is still going to make a move over, $70,000 plus, and I do suspect that Ethereum is probably going to make a move probably from a 2x from here. So we have to watch this market very closely and wait until we have some validation on a lot of these altcoins, as well as Ethereum and Bitcoin. But I will say this, we have been seeing a lot of catalyst events unfolding for HBAR, and I do want to talk to you guys closely about where we could see its vital role in the future of finance. Now, before we fully jump in this video, I just want to let you guys know that the Ultimate Crusader Trading Bundle Pack is on sale for 35% off until the end of December. I'm going to be uploading a lot more videos and a lot more content onto this website. Specifically, I'm going to be uploading a lot of passive income, pretty much things to do to make money while you sleep. They're very interesting. They are things that I have used in the past and I continue to use to this day to make residual and passive income without even having to do anything. So definitely keep a close eye out if that is something that interests you. And of course, like I said, the Ultimate Crusader Trading Bundle Pack is the best deal for your buck because it does include everything on the website as well as all feature content for free. So with that being said, let's move on. So we did see this actually announced today, or I shouldn't even say announced, but talks of this being announced today. We do see your Visa Next Council member, Director of Engineering after 10 years in Visa, leaves the company and joins MTech, powered by Hedera. Enjoy the show, Hbar'S. And this is interesting because we do see here there are many connections between Visa and Hedera, and here's another one. A longtime Visa engineer has joined MTech Inc., a CBDC solution built on Hedera in partnership with IBM and Microsoft. Ignore these breadcrumbs now, regret forever. HBAR, trust layer of crypto. And of course, we've talked about the MTech stuff very often, I should say, until pretty much just recently. I haven't, pretty much done a video on it in a fairly long time, but I've talked about the MTech stuff going all the way back to May in regards to the future CBDC for the US. Now, within the MTech ecosystem, there is a lot of connections with IBM and Microsoft, as well as many other pretty much small breadcrumbs in there with Visa and stuff. But I've always discussed the idea of Visa and MasterCard essentially needing a DLT to scale, because the more and more they actually scale in terms of payments, the higher and higher they pay in terms of fees to run the network. So building on something like Hedera could be very interesting, and I do think that it is something that could help them prosper ahead and actually have more scalability options. Now, we also see a lot more individuals commenting on this because we do see, a lot of connections with, the Federal Reserve, Bank of Ghana, Bank of Bahamas, and Microsoft are now all linked to MTech, a CBDC sandbox leveraging Hedera, thus fueled by HBAR. I would not be surprised if Visa was, the next GC member, but of course we don't have confirmation on that, so we can't talk about it too much, but we could speculate a little bit. Now we also see here, huge news for HBAR adoption, right? We talked about this yesterday, but I didn't do a deep dive in on it. In fact, we do see here, it's almost like HBAR tech is superior, priced tremendously undervalued, and should be in the top 10. And of course, if we are in the top 10, We're looking at $1.57. But I've always said, we're at least a top 5 coin, $3.51. That's pretty incredible, just to say the least. And a lot of these altcoins are not at the highest, pretty much market cap potential. I think that by the end of this bull run, we could be seeing a $100 billion evaluation for HBAR or a $5.48 HBAR. Of course, we could see much higher depending on the catalyst events that do get released, because the next GC member could be absolutely parabolic for us, as well as, possible listings on Coinbase and stuff like that. So we still have a lot left in the tank for HBAR in terms of price appreciation. Now we do see here finance is changing. Standard Bank, largest bank in Africa, $143 billion in assets, founded 159 years ago, and Shinhan Bank, leading bank in South Korea, $269 billion in assets, founded 124 years ago, have united in a proof of concept stablecoin built on Hedera. Pretty interesting, right? Now, I've always talked about the future of finance. I've talked to you guys about the future of the payment network that we're pretty much essentially leading on. And I've always talked about the system, right? This new prosperous system that we are essentially ushering into. I suspect that it's going to be the digital revolution of payments, of pretty much everything that we do on a day-to-day basis. Now, with this, we also see HBAR is pretty much at the heart and soul of a lot of these major banks. We also talk about DBS Bank as well. There's a lot of things happening behind closed doors with DLT Technologies, and I suspect that HBAR is going to be a big name in the game for the future of finance, in the future of payments, in the future of pretty much almost everyday life, especially in terms of tokenization, which I think is going to bleed into pretty much everyday life, talking about digital IDs and stuff like that are coming very soon. So I think that HBAR is going to be a leading name here. And when we're talking about finance, we always talk about what is happening within the Hedera ecosystem. For an example, we look at here, right? Real-time interconnectional settlement using stablecoins, or intercontinental, sorry. But we do see here, cross-border transactions can take days to settle. To expedite this process and its efficiency, Shinhan Bank, the leading bank in South Korea, and Standard Bank, the largest bank in Africa, have united in a proof of concept on Hedera. In so doing, the trial looked to reduce the reliance on middlemen, associated cost, and settlement time in the currently $702 billion remittance market. In this talk, the two Hedera governing council members will showcase challenges with legacy cross-border payment system SWIFT, proposed stablecoin solution on Hedera, a live demonstration of the settlement process. Now, I just want you guys to understand, a lot of people thought that this was going to pretty much, rally against XRP or kill XRP. I just want you guys to understand that the challenges with the legacy cross-border payment system, that is essentially what XRP is going to be doing, is pretty much becoming the new cross-border payment system. So this will actually help Hedera and possibly XRP work together. But nonetheless, I'm going to be watching this closely. I think that this presentation could be very interesting, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be talking here, but I think that this is great. Okay, I think that this is going to be great for us. I think that there's going to be a lot of talks about how HBAR is really going to be leveraged in the future as well, on how it's being leveraged right now. And like I said, pay attention to December 8th at 9 p.m. PST and December 9th at 7 a.m. SAST as well. So, for anybody who is in those time zones, definitely keep a close eye on this, because this could be very interesting. And like I said, cross-border payments are a huge market. Now we also see here Hedera for the enterprise, right? This is going to be the future. Asset tokenization, ERP, CRM, and EAM, identity and authentication, permission blockchain, fraud mitigation, track and trace. I've always talked about these. And in terms of the future of finance, I think a lot of this is going to really be, where we see HBAR really grow, especially asset tokenization of data as well. Stuff like that is going to help HBAR explode in price. And when we're talking about payments, right? We see real-time settlement. We're seeing by 2023, the transaction values could reach $6.7 trillion in digital transactions globally. I think that could be much higher, and of course, low predictable fees, regulatory compliance as well. And there's a lot already building within the Hedera ecosystem for this. But when we're talking about the future of finance and the future of payments, like I said, this announcement was huge, because a lot of people, even, in the HBAR scene, were talking about this. I'm Korean. I live in Korea. Expectations are high for HBAR and Shinhan Bank stablecoins. Don't be surprised. This is just the beginning. And I've said that as well, that this is just the beginning. I think that this is going to be much bigger than what most people actually see. And of course, in terms of faster payments and, pretty much real-time settlement, that is a huge demand. We actually see here, Citi, innovating trade finance requires instant payments, digital platforms as well. Listen. Digitization, real-time payments are huge, especially in the B2B market, P2P, B2C, and so much more. They want faster payments. They want pretty much, global fast payments, cross-border payments. They want that to be the fastest, the most affordable, and they want it to be, not utilizing pre-approved accounts. And I think that when we're talking about pre-approved accounts, we're going to see those getting pretty much thrown out the window, especially in terms of XRP or what Hbar is actually doing as well within that scene. I'm very excited for this. Now, we also see here unlocking the value of real-time payments as well, because real-time payments are going to increase the value in which payments are actually made, and they are talking about ISO 222. They're talking about small and mid-tier banks having issues with implementation due to legacy systems. I think that we are going to be seeing a replacement of the old system with the new system, and I suspect that this is going to pretty much be the heart and soul of it, which is ISO 222, which is coming in November of 2022. And honestly, I think that the revenues, the real-time payments and stuff like that is going to be absolutely crazy. We're actually seeing here, how can banks drive revenue from their investment in real-time payments? Well, it's going to be scalable. It's going to be much scalable, and it's going to provide a ton of volume and value as well to be transacted on a day-to-day basis. I think that when we're talking about the future of banking, crypto is going to be playing a vital role in this. I think that that's why we see regulations growing in demand, especially from a government side point. And when we're talking about real-time payments, it's going to pretty much get rid of all of the problems within the payment scene. And I honestly think that physical banks will be digitized by at least 2030. I don't think that we're going to be seeing people going into a bank to, pretty much check their balances or anything like that. I think that's going to be all digitized. And I think that that should be the way things are, because a physical bank is extremely slow and inefficient anyways. Now, in terms of global cross-border payments and remittance services, this is expected to grow from $37.15 trillion in 2020 to $39.9 trillion by 2026. I suspect that this is going to be much higher. In fact, I think that we could 2x this, especially if we do see digitization of this market. I think that we could grow this by at least 2x. But of course, $39.9 trillion is also a significant point. If we're getting just 10% of that market or 1% of that market, that's a massive amount of money. But again, we are seeing a lot of the cross-border, market traction pretty much growing and growing and growing. And of course, they are talking about DLTs. They are seeing emerging trends in payment technologies such as blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. And this is going to improve the transaction cost and transfer time and generate real-time data focused on key aspects, customer behavior. DLTs can solve cross-border transaction and settlement problems by verifying the origin and authenticity of the product as it moves across the value chain. And like I said, I suspect that Hbar is going to be leading the way for this. That is why I've always said that this is easily a $1 trillion asset, or a 155x from our current levels. In fact, I think that we could be seeing Bitcoin's market cap at some point in time where we are seeing, a $60 Hbar. Even if we were talking about, the total supply, we're still seeing some higher targets met here. But of course, I don't think that we're going to be seeing the total supply for a fairly long time, and I suspect that this market's going to grow astronomically, especially if we're talking about real-time settlements, banks joining in on the fun as well. Banks are adopting crypto at a massive rate, so are financial institutions. And like I said, this could allow for a ton of money to flow over Hbar. We talk about, a lot of those major markets that, even XRP is disrupting, and we're talking about like $100 trillion plus markets all the way up to $2 quadrillion in the derivatives market. So I'm watching this market unfold very closely. And of course, we do see here, along with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Kevin O'Leary needs to invest in Solana, Polygon, and Hedera. Okay, this was 3 days ago now. Now, the best part about this is the fact that we see here, I don't know who the winner will be. Some of the winners include Solana, Polygon, and Hbar, according to O'Leary, all of which have been recently making some waves in the DeFi community. He further added, I need to invest in all of those, not just one of them, because I don't know who the winner is going to be. In my mind, I think that Hbar is so far ahead of Polygon and Solana in terms of what it's focused on. I think that these three cannot really be compared. I understand that they are all three pretty much, nice ecosystems, but I don't think that they're focused on the same, use cases here. I think that Hbar is far ahead of most of the top 10 assets in this space. But that's just my overall opinion. But he is saying, us for Hbar, which is the native token of the distributed ledger technology Hedera Hashgraph, its inclusion is unsurprising considering the big names like Google and IBM that are associated with this protocol. Hedera focuses on decentralizing operations and governance. Most major tech firms around the globe participate in its governing council. It is also reportedly has the lowest environmental impact of any proof-of-stake blockchain. Even then, HBAR is the 37th highest rated cryptocurrency on CoinGecko, having lost 40% of its valuation since it last touched its all-time high in mid-September. I honestly suspect that a lot of these, pretty much reporters, these major, pretty much retail, websites and stuff like this. Now, I know that AMB crypto is not a big, pretty much, article for them, but I think that in terms of where Hedera stands, I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of talks around HBAR and Hedera, especially as we do march forward on into December and January. I think that the upside potential here is astronomical for HBAR, and I think that a breakout is very close, especially considering the fact that we have been ranging. I suspect that the next major target point is like around 70 to $1, and once we do retest that, I think that that's going to be very, and I shouldn't even say retest it, but test those levels. But I think that that's going to be very bullish, and I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of, pretty much listings and stuff like that happening. I'm very excited for the future of HBAR. And like I said, this solidifies its role in where we could see HBAR. HBAR is not just focused on one market. They are focused on pretty much everything. But don't take my word for it. All you have to do is go over here to case studies, and you could see all the markets that Hedera is actually focused on. We're seeing media, healthcare, agriculture, logistics, technology, retail. There's so much here. And I'm very excited for the future of HBAR because they are growing this ecosystem at a massive rate, and I suspect that they will be seeing, Ethereum's market cap at some point in time. Not in this bull run possibly, but of course, I'd love to see it. I'd love to be wrong, but I think that HBAR's upside potential is absolutely massive, and I could not be, more bullish. And of course, this is going off the total supply, but don't, if we're actually looking at this from an overall supply currently, and we go off of Ethereum's market cap, we'd be at about $30.16. I know a lot of people have been saying $10. I've said $10 originally as well. I think $10 is possible, especially if we do have a parabolic topping point for Bitcoin into like the 100K plus markets or marks. Now, like I said, anything is possible. I'm more so conservative on HBAR being around $3 to $6. I think that that is a good point to pretty much, say, all right, it's time to take some profit and, pretty much sell a large portion of my bag. But of course, with that being said, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.